So I am back from Bournemouth, from my pilgrimage down to the Sue Stone Pam Gregory event on Sunday. Wow, absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that I took the decision to book on that, and it's a long way from the Peak District to Bournemouth. It's a good 5-hour drive. It was the most incredible afternoon, and I experienced what I would call a quantum leap in my perception of what's unfolding, which is tremendously exciting. And it's not just a mental leap, this is an energetic leap, because there were probably at least 200, maybe even 300 people in that room. Well, I say people, enlightened souls, incredible light workers, people just making the pilgrimage from all over, including one woman from Brazil. I suspect that Pam was an incredible draw. Nothing to denigrate Sue at all. Sue's an old friend of mine, as is Pam. But Pam has got a massive following, worldwide following. If you watch her astrology videos, which she releases every 2 weeks, so she talks generally about the new moons and the full moons, but much more than that, she talks about the wider unfolding of what's happening on planet Earth, what it means for us spiritual beings who have been incarnated in these meat suits. So always remember that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, experiencing the density of 3D, the density of this earth manifestation. So of course, I've talked before about our mission to create heaven on earth, not to exit this dimension and do some kind of flight response and escape to a higher dimension, but to literally, having experienced the higher dimension, whether that be through meditation or shamanic journeying or whatever your modality is, having touched into the essence of that bliss, that pure love, diamond energy which lies beyond the veil, to bring that into this 3D reality and what it's creating. So many people now bringing in the light, thinning the veil, punching through the veil, and it's almost like creating holes in the veil so that light can cascade through, that pure energy can cascade through, which is tremendously healing. So back to Pam Gregory. She was sharing about some of the trends. I mean, it's very difficult for me to précis what she said, really, to do it justice and to really get the full energetic transmission of the event. You really do need to watch the recording. They did film it, so I'd highly recommend that. Basically, to cut a long story short, what is happening at the moment is there is a square between Saturn and Uranus. Now, this square has been happening a multitude of times over the past few years because the planets have been retrograding and moving forward. So they've been moving apart and then coming together. And this time, Uranus has the upper hand because it's ahead of Saturn. Now, Uranus is the planet of liberation and freedom and innovation and no rules and higher dimensional being and also technology, whereas Saturn and its rings is about bringing us back into control and judging and shaming and controlling and contracting. So there's this dance between Uranus where we're trying to liberate ourselves and break free, and then suddenly Saturn comes in and says, not so fast. I'm going to restrain you. I'm going to try and reel you in. Now, on a personal level, I had this very strongly in my childhood because my mother was constantly trying to rein me in. Now in my chart, I have Mars conjunct Pluto conjunct Uranus at 17, my Mars is at 17 degrees of Virgo, and Pluto and Uranus are conjunct it. So that full moon, harvest moon, was at 17 degrees of Virgo Pisces. It was on that axis, so it was very activating for me. And so I have a very strong Mars, Pluto, Uranus energy in my chart. And I also have Saturn at 29 degrees of Aquarius, which is Uranus's home sign. So I'm constantly questioning authority and saying, no, I do not consent. No, you're not going to restrain me. You're not going to rein me in. You know, I'm not going to be contained. I am a cosmic, universal, infinite being of light, and I don't want a straitjacket of rules and regulations on me. So so it's a very interesting dance, that one. But at the moment, for the collective, we're in this Saturn-Uranus dance, and those two planets are square. So there is this expansion, contraction, there is this wanting to break free and then being reined in. Just heard news that Alex Belfield has been jailed for 5.5 years for what was called online stalking, for speaking out against some of his ex-BBC presenters. I mean, wow, that was a real shocker. And whatever your views may be on Alex Belfield and whether he was controlled opposition or not, who knows, who knows anymore what's what. But I felt a huge amount of compassion for Alex Belfield. I didn't agree with everything he said. I didn't agree necessarily with his all of his messages, but I felt a huge amount of compassion for him on hearing that news. So I am intending to write to Alex and to just offer some words of support. I know when I had a life wipeout, when I lost Red Letter Days and was annihilated by the media and was on Tonight with Trevor McDonald, you know, it was I remember watching that show. It was on ITV, Tonight with Trevor McDonald, Exit the Dragon. I remember watching it and thinking, oh my God, this is really, my life is over. It really was quite a strong moment. You know, one of those moments where you do really feel whether life's worth living. And one of the beautiful things that happened that night, when I was just in that place of devastation, just feeling, oh my God, and the betrayal as well, because people who I thought were my friends, who'd come to my parties and, you know, sat at the table and drank from the cup, drank all the champagne at my parties, and when I was in that world, had turned on me and were being interviewed one by one by the ITV, and wow, what a betrayal that was. Anyway, at about 10 o'clock that night, I think the programme was like from 9 till 10, I just went into my little home office and switched on my email, and wow, the most amazing thing happened, that hundreds of emails of support were just popping in, just saying, don't give up, don't let the bastards grind you down, we love you, you know, we can see through this, you know. And I got some just incredible communications, and it was those actually that really encouraged me to keep going. So by the same token, I am intending to drop Alex Belfield a line, to write him a letter if I can find out where he might be, which prison they've put him in, where he's incarcerated by the system, and send him just a letter of support, and also offer, if he wants, for me to go and visit him. Not that I know him, but it just feels like a kind and compassionate thing to do in his situation. So if anyone has any information on where Alex Belfield might be languishing, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, we're deep down here in the Dale. So we're deep, this is like deep in the earth here. You can see, hopefully, like the skyline is right up there. And we're just walking along the brook here down to Ravensdale. And so this is the really interesting thing about Cressbrook Dale. It literally is, we are in the earth. And so no wonder a lot is coming up around death and transformation. I mean, where do you go in death? But ashes to ashes, dust to dust, back into the earth. And there's a great shamanic song, into the earth I go, into the earth I go. Hold my hand, sister, hold my hand, brother, into the earth I go. Probably completely missung that as well. But it's reminiscent of that, going deep into the earth, going into the mother, back into the mother. Yeah, I had a tremendous healing. I don't think I've shared it with you. I had a tremendous healing here on the full moon in August. I just took a decision to just come to the Ravensdale Spring and just sit and meditate and journey, set up a little altar, completely. It was the Ravensdale Spring is actually quite visible because there's a public footpath which runs next to it, and I'm currently kind of persona non grata within Cressbrook, so you know I was feeling a bit vulnerable. Checking on Kobe. Yeah, he's behind me. Much easier to spot Kobe now. I had to buy him a new harness because his old one broke, so it's much easier to spot with the blue one, because the lime green one, quite often he just disappeared into the forest. I couldn't actually see him, just hear him snuffling and snorting away and scratching away. Anyway, back to the story. So I decided to do this little journey on my own, set up a little kind of mesa, little altar, lit a candle, lit a stick of incense, and just journeyed, you know. And I got to a point where I just really felt like sort of overcome with this wave of tiredness and really feeling the need to lie down. Just lying on the earth, looking sky bathing, which is a really beautiful thing to do, just to earth, lie on the earth, and just looking up through the trees to the sky, the blue sky, super beautiful. And then I suddenly felt this like pain in the back of my heart around there, and thinking, oh my God, I must be lying on some kind of stone or a branch or something. And it prompted me to curl into the fetal position. And I was lying there kind of curled up, and suddenly I was back inside my mother's womb. So literally, like we're in the vagina, I was literally in my mother's womb. And I was shown just how much fear that I held as a fetus being incarnated into that first, and being an embryo growing in my mother's womb. Because my mum was a very kind of quite highly stressed woman. She already had 3 children when she was pregnant with me, and my older brother is 18 months older than me, so she would have had a 9-month-old baby at the time she got pregnant with me. So I had spent 9 months in this soup of adrenaline inside my mother's womb. Super scary. And like, oh my God, what is this place, you know? Oh, really, really, really frightened. And literally that feeling of not feeling safe, and that feeling of feeling vulnerable on the land, and like not feeling quite safe lying there, you know, well, in full view of a public footpath. But literally that was repatterned for me, and I just came out of it just feeling I'm safe. I'm absolutely safe. It doesn't matter. I'm safe. I'm safe here. I'm safe in my life. There's nothing to fear. I'm absolutely safe. And just that healing, just that feeling, wow, it was just the most incredible liberation, because I feel completely safe here. I mean, I'm walking here alone with Kobe, and who knows who's here or what's here. And but I just don't have any feeling of, I just completely trust. I completely trust I'm 100% protected, not just here, but everywhere. It's, very, very beautiful healing and liberation that happened there. So I do get the power and magic of this land. And so, yes, back to Pam and the astrology. She was also saying that this winter solstice is very, very powerful. Jupiter is at 0 degrees of Aries. It must be retrograding back through Aries, and exactly at the winter solstice, when the Sun is at 0 degrees of Capricorn, Jupiter will be at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the beginning of the astrological chart, the spring equinox. So 6 months from now is the spring equinox, is 0 degrees of Aries. So the 0 degrees of Capricorn is the winter solstice, 0 degrees of Cancer is the summer solstice, 0 degrees of Libra is the autumn equinox. So those quarter points are the cardinal signs, and they're the cardinal cross, which is the north, south, east, west. Just wanted to clear that up. So this winter solstice, there is a spectacular conjunction, and there was one 2 years ago where Jupiter and Saturn were at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the winter solstice itself. So that point, that return of the light, which is the winter solstice, it is the Christ Mass. The return of the light, because it's the shortest day, and from that point the light starts to return. So the winter solstice is super powerful, and there's an incredible aspect which includes Manwë, which is the creator of worlds, at 29, very last degree of Pisces, which is source. So it's a moment of just a moment to birth through a new world, and a new world energetically. And then in March 2023, Pluto moves into Aquarius from Capricorn. So it finishes its job grinding through, Pluto's been grinding through Capricorn, essentially destroying the system, destroying these chains that bind us, whether they're physical chains or mental chains, or the chains of trauma that we haven't yet healed. So there's a massive potential for a collective transformation and liberation. And Pam was saying that New Earth will have been born through by March 2023, so in 6 months' time. And she said the next 6 months is incredibly intense. But I feel it's super exciting, and I feel that we're all part of it. We are all energetically part of it. We're all feeding our energy into this. And so what's happening on the other side of that, because of course those behind the system, completely trained in the rules and the metaphysical magic, but metaphysical laws are neither benevolent nor malevolent, they simply are, so they can be used for good or for evil. So undoubtedly the powers that be know what is unfolding and are desperately trying to slow it, to stop it, to stillbirth this, and hence why so much lower vibrational, low density energy is being pumped into the grid right now, with mourning and funerals and scarcity and fear and threats, and so it's so important that we hold our centre during this time. I'm just coming by the Ravensdale. That's the Ravens Cliff up there. Amazing limestone crag, and these are the Ravensdale cottages. Beautiful 12 little workers' cottages, mill workers' cottages, built in the 19th century by the owners of the mill. So this is quite incredible down here at Ravensdale, very, very beautiful. Yeah, so it's very easy, and I know this myself, it's very easy to get drawn into the story, into even fighting what's unfolding or questioning it, or putting a lot of energy into trying to change the system. Whereas the key message of Pam was that we're in a metamorphosis, and the old system is like a cocoon that would just naturally fall away, a bit like a bean when you plant it. I posted a video of a bean sprouting the other day, where the bean cracks open, it puts down its root, it puts up a shoot, and then once it's taken root and that bean starts to grow, the shell of the bean just drops away in the same way that the cocoon of a butterfly just drops away as the butterfly emerges. So we don't need to focus on fighting the system, it's going to just drop away. And it's really, really powerful to just hold that vibration of joy. I mean, my go-to is humour, actually. I just have a kind of like a very insane sense of humour, and I wish that people would get my jokes, actually. I do feel that this life is a bit of a cosmic joke, and it does make me chuckle to see the funny side of things, just to laugh at it all, because it is a bit of a pantomime, a bit of a kind of Earth reality show for higher dimensional beings. I often think that maybe we're just part of some giant Truman show for the entertainment of higher dimensional beings who are just laughing at the ridiculousness of us higher dimensional beings who've been incarnated into these characters in this Earth reality, whose brains have been wiped, so we forget where we've come from, or most of us forget who we are, and are floundering around, and it just must be the most hilarious reality show. So anyway, slowly autumn is coming in, starting to see a lot of the ash dieback in forests in the Peak District. You might be able to see, if I scan this forest behind me, that is the eastern side of the Dale, which is a nature reserve, which is owned by the local council. But there's a lot of skeleton trees in there, where the ash dieback is just like a virus. Very, very similar to what is happening with the whole human experience of just one by one people checking out, like these trees checking out. So it's going to be an interesting 6 months. So holding our centre, finding the light, finding our way back to the light, meditation, transcending the drama, in whatever way whatever your favourite way to do that is. It's really important right now. And just to end, Pam was saying that I think it was to do with Jupiter and Saturn, and the dance of Jupiter and Saturn, which has been through the Earth signs for the past 200 years. Well, for the first time, they have, when they joined in Aquarius, they're moving into air signs for the next 200 years. The light, high vibration of air compared to the slow density, dense vibration of Earth. And it's heralding an era of 200 years of peace on Earth. So that was a very beautiful message to hear on Sunday. So huge thanks to Pam and to Sue for arranging that event. Thanks to Dean for accompanying me. Thanks to Jerome, who gifted Dean a place, because it was a last minute decision for him to come. And Jerome gifted me a front seat space. He bought a whole load of tickets and a couple of people couldn't make it, so that was really sweet. So sending you all so much love. I'm feeling very optimistic, full of hope and beautiful expansion today. So that little pilgrimage down to the south coast and absorbing all of that amazing high vibrational energy from true beings of light, true beings of love and light. No shadow, no trauma, no edge, no bitchiness, just amazing an amazing group of light workers. It was absolute salve for my soul. So sending you so much love, and bye for now.
Did those feet in ancient times walk upon England's mountains green? Was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pasture seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon these clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here amongst these dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, oh, clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem on England's green and pleasant land. Build Jerusalem on England's green